Chapter 1153. Chapter what? Chapter 1153. This thing came out last night, and instead of me reading it and getting the video done, Gamblrr decided he wanted to waste another 2 hours on Dokkan Battle trying to beat Festival of Battles for the third time. Yes, I'm addicted, and I actually did beat it, and no, I'm not crazy, you're crazy. Anyways, it was 5 AM when I was scripting this, and I was mad I had to endure the consequences of my own actions. I barely read the spoilers this time around, so we're going in almost completely blind. With that being said, if you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. I make a chapter review every week. A new One Piece chapter comes out, and it's vibes every time. You won't regret it. Opening the chapter and seeing Yamato's cover story honestly makes my day just a teeny bit worse. I can't continue ranting on about how uninterested I am about this. How the heck are we 37 entries into this story and it's still going? The thing is, this is like only my second cover story I've actually experienced in real time. Now this is completely off the top of my head, I don't really feel like checking, but I got caught up to the manga in 2021. And near the end of Wano, there was this cover story about Germa trying to escape Whole Cake Island after everything that happened. I'd be lying if I told you I was dialed into the cover stories like I am now, since, well, back then I didn't have to make videos on the chapters. Anyways, hopefully this endless cover story finishes soon. Yamato beat the big bad, took Oti and Page 1 into her care, and now she's literally just BSing. Oda man, give me a cover story about Kizaru going back to the marine base or something. Anything but this piece of crap. The title for chapter 1153 is The Birth of Loki, and I'm gonna be real, again, I'm going in blind, but I was not expecting Loki to be born so quickly into the backstory, especially since Haruden is like his older brother or something like that. Either this chapter is another long one, or Oda really said I'm not about to bore my readers. I'm ready, let's get into it. The chapter starts off with an image of Dory, Bragi, and Harold all as children. Apparently they all shared a wild childhood together, and of course Harold was born the Prince of Elbaf. Alright, I was not expecting these guys to be similar in age, especially since Dory and Bragi literally aren't even ancient giants like Harold is. Honestly, that's a pretty cool concept. Only the royal lineage has ancient giant blood, but everyone else was born out of it through the time. The next panel shows Harold terrorizing the other kids likely. The narrator says that he was born into the bloodline of the ancient giants, giving him a colossal body, monstrous strength, and high status. He grew into an arrogant and unruly rogue that no one could rein in. And then we see bro in what seems to be his teens on a boat voyaging outside of Elbaf, and telling his guys that the outside world is full of puny creatures too boring and weak. Dog, this guy picked his nose and threw the booger into the sea, and it was so big it made a splash and had this random shark get hit with the AoE. Poor shark, dude almost died to a booger. We go to an island in the New World, the Kingdom of Bunt, and there we see what seems to be a circus act where a giant named Ida is behind bars on display. I like how most of these NPCs are actually scared, and then you got this one guy in the middle who's laughing because his daughter is scared. We're going to name him for not being an actual NPC. His name is Gunther. Don't ask me why, I have no idea, it was just the first thing that came to mind. Gunther just might sneak into my top 10 favorite characters. Just look at him, bro, inspirational. No NPC movements, no running away, just straight vibes. Harold is looking at the circus with binoculars and is visibly pissed, saying it takes balls to turn one of them giants into a roadside attraction. And so on the next page, the first panel shows the island literally destroyed and the giants on the ship laughing about how they deserved it for mocking Elbaf. Ida asks who the heck these people are, and Harold says she doesn't have to thank him, he's the king of Elbaf, and he just couldn't sit back and watch the homeland be disrespected. This is frying me. Oda's trying to sell me the idea that Harold was scum or something, but so far I'm just seeing a guy with Elbaf morals. The dude saved the girl from the circus as well. I mean, come on, is this guy really terribly scum? Let's be real here. When I was scripting this, I scrolled down to look at the next panels and almost burst out laughing. I couldn't be doing that because it was 5 AM. Ida slaps the absolute crap out of Harold, and you see Harold's entire demeanor change after the slap. I've never seen someone's face turn into this. Oda is killing me right now. This cannot be the same guy. Ida tells them to turn the ship around and apologize to the people at the island because they got a lot of people hurt. Harold asks if she's crazy because she's asking to go back to the kingdom, and she beats the crap out of him again. Apparently they took her in and gave her work after finding her adrift at the brink of death. It's thanks to their kindness that she's even alive to this day. The drawing of Harold just beat the heck up in the middle of her dialogue is killing me. In the next panel, she starts crying, asking what the heck he means calling the humans little dolls. After all, he just so happened to be born big. His strength was a quirk of fate. She then says don't kid yourself into thinking you're better than the humans and calls him an arrogant disgrace. It's that kind of crap that lumps all giants in with Elbaf's savages. She's absolutely cooking that man, and he's just there sweating and taking it without retaliation. I don't know if it's going to click later on, but this is reminding me of something. Harold is literally shook that she's out here openly disrespecting him, slapping him, beating him up, calling him bad words, and he genuinely doesn't know how to react. This panel is still frying me because it sums up the entire thing. The guy is flabbergasted. He has never experienced some BS like this in his life. Also, I just noticed the horns she had were fake. This honestly just had me realize the difference between someone like Harold and Loki and Ors. Ors is like the main ancient giant, like genuinely the OG. Harold is the descendant from it, so the features aren't as crazy, but they're there. The horns Ors had were like the ones Ida had cosmetically, but Harold's got this weird black tainted hornage going on. Is hornage even a word? Harold repeats what Ida said to him as the ship goes back to the island. I was just born big. And we see Harold not only not being the scum he's supposed to be, but also he's reflecting on what the hell just happened. For the first time, someone didn't just obey out of fear and, in quotations, respect. I just noticed, but that scene where Harold was on the boat picking his nose was to show that that was Harold's norm. He asked his guys their opinion on the outside world, and they just repeated exactly what he said, but you can see the sweat from the giants. They're clearly saying it out of fear. She completely challenged this guy, and he's out here having an identity crisis. We see Ida helping the island repair itself, and then the giants ask Harold if they're going to set sail, but he tells them to go help rebuild the city that they destroyed. Again, you can see the norm for Harold. He's got these guys on a leash out of straight fear. I mean, come on, he is the king of the war country. In the next page, we see the city finish in repair. I don't know who's talking in this page, but they're glazing the way humans do things compared to Elbaf. We see Ida holding her hand out to Harold, and then a scene of him apologizing to the king of the city he destroyed. I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was crazy. Who convinced Harold to kneel before a human? That is genuinely ridiculous. Harold is then seen chilling with the citizens, kids on his arm, and even doing the Nika dance with everyone else. Look at it like this, Harold. The destruction of anything in this world is a waste. Alright, so I'm looking at this part of the script, and I'm not about to say this because it's really stupid, but I'm gonna sum up what I said. I thought the double spread from last chapter was of Harold in his like 40s or something, and the beginning of this chapter was him earlier than that. Clearly that's not the case, but I was shook. Anyways, yeah, I'm not about to let y'all cook me in the comments, bro. It was 5 a.m. Please cut me some slack. We find out that Ida is from an island called Samuwana, so whatever, bro. It was in the South Blue, and she ended up in the New World Seas. Harold asks if she went over the blood-soaked serpent, which apparently is the Elbaf term for the red line, and she confirms that she did go over it, but she can't go back now. In the panel, we see Harold making allies with a random island. Harold asks Ida to come to Elbaf and that they aren't as savage as he thinks they are, and she considers it. The other giants on Harold's crew are creeped out about how much Harold has changed and hope is a phase. Do these guys like being led by fear? What do they got going on? It's like they enjoy being scared 24/7. They're freaked all the way out. Anyways, this is the point where I found out that this Harold is the same as this Harold, because in the next panel it says 105 years ago, so that was 4 years after this double spread. Honestly, was it bad that I was unironically analyzing his wrinkles? I mean, he looks way older here. Honestly, I'm looking at the script and I was truly confident on that. F you, tact. 105 years ago, or 4 years after meeting Ida maybe, Harold says that they've committed countless sins and it's time for them to atone for them. And someone asks what's wrong with Harold. As king, Harold intends to frequently travel overseas. He hopes to extend a hand of reconciliation to their neighbors and learn from their cultures. Their land can become more prosperous if they learn from the world. Some random guy who's not Gunther in the crowd says that Dory, Bragi, and the others won't ever stop running wild though. Harold says that Dory and Bragi never fail to treat humans fairly and honorably. They go way back after all. The giants in the crowd ask if they can still hold on to their warrior ways, but Harold says that they may have to reconsider some traditions if other countries feel threatened. In the next panel, I think these two are Jeru and his brother. I forgot the name of him. It's that one guy Big Mom killed as a kid. They say that it's a big change that's being made and that Elbaf is truly blessed. Next, we see progress in pursuit of advancement. We see Harold trading with neighboring nations and writing logs, while Ida is traveling with them and sleeping. I think this might be Ida explaining this to Harold, but people need to forge connections, otherwise international cooperation is impossible. 24 years later, Ida and Harold had a baby, and while trying to accept the congratulations, Harold is cut off, and these four shadow giants tell him that they cannot recognize his marriage since only pure blood can be permitted within the royal family. Their child is Haruden, and since he's directly Harold's son, he can stay with Harold, but Ida cannot. In the next page, we get introduced to someone named Lady Estrid. Apparently, she carries the noble blood of the ancient giants. Estrid is meant to be Harold's future bride, and according to these four shadow giants, she's truly fit to becoming queen. Dude, who are these people? Are they like the king's council? I'm gonna be completely real. I couldn't care less about whatever Estrid has going on, but apparently she's a student of Earth Wind Arts, whatever that means. She tells Harold that she was fated to love him for the rest of her life, and tells him to forget Ida and her bastard. Dude, that is generally one of the worst things I've ever read someone say. The reason I couldn't care less about Estrid is because Ida and Harold, just 10 times better for me. Estrid is over here tweaking about energies and mirrors and BS. Clearly she's a little effed up in the head. She brings in a horse named Ashura, one of good fortune. There's a couple things I want to mention. First off, this guy Harold looks way older now. I didn't bring it up in a previous page, but this page just makes me realize it even more. Dude has facial hair now. Also, look how big Estrid is compared to the other giants and then compared to Harold. What'll be going on in One Piece? And finally, and the most important part, where is Haruden and why is Harold not resisting more? This guy literally chalked it up to culture, but bro, they literally took you away from your wife and made you get with another girl. What is this? Estrid tells the guards to put all the gold and jewelry in her room and tells them that from that day onwards, her and the king will only take meals on a silver platter. A decade after that, Harold is still making journeys, but the seas are crazier than before. Elbaf's advanced navigation techniques intrigued other countries. We see Harold telling some humans about the North Star that apparently no one else knew about. Damn, humans in One Piece were really dumb. King Harold tells a crowd about his venture to Fishman Island, where he saw the newborn Neptune that had every single sea creature celebrating. This is some underrated lore, to be honest, and how the heck did Harold even get to Fishman Island? 7 years after that, Harold is overseas, but Estrid has given birth to their baby, Loki. Before I even continue, dude, how did this even, bro, I can't wrap my head around it. This guy Harold was taken away from his wife that he'd been with for, I think maybe 30 years, almost 30 years, taken away from her, forced to marry this new girl, and had a baby with her? What? Chat, bro, you guys have to make it make sense to me, because this guy literally had no resistance. Anyways, she wants to take a good look at the son's face, and she literally jumps out of the bed after labor and falls on the floor. How did she? From what angle? She says to tell the king it was a stillbirth and that it's utterly unacceptable how ugly the baby was. It was a cursed monster according to her. This reminds me of something. I don't know what, but it does. When the Prince of Elbaf stretched his arms into the air, no one was there to take those small hands into theirs. We see Estrid, by the way she literally just gave birth, run away with Loki, and suddenly we see the image of the underworld and something is falling. It is said that the most unfortunate souls are those rejected from birth by their own mothers. Estrus says that no child was born today, and she forbids them from telling anyone. She starts packing her stuff, which by the way you can clearly see is just the golden jewelry she stole from Harold, and she says that she's going back to her village and she never wants to give birth again. One of the giants says that something's coming from the realm of the dead, and Estrus asks what they're talking about. And in the final double spread of the chapter, we see baby Loki climbing up the Atom Tree. Goodness gracious, this was cold. The narrator tells us that Queen Estrus soon collapsed due to ill health, and we see her tell the giant to dispose of Loki because he's fated to kill Harold. At the same time, Harold is still overseas dealing with being blocked by the world government from trying to form connections with other countries, and he asks why can't they be free. We see Ida and we see Harden, who's a kid now, and Harden says he's not gonna call him his little brother if he's not his mom's kid. And then in the final panel of the chapter, we see a silhouette of Loki, and the narrator tells us that from then on, every misfortune that struck Elbaf was chalked up to Loki's curse, and the chapter ends. I don't care. This chapter was ridiculously good. This final double spread is probably one of my favorites in recent time. Heck, dare I say it is my favorite in recent times. I don't remember anything else that has really moved me like this in the past like 2 to 4 months. I want to see it all. How Loki survives this, how he gets accustomed to everything, how he gets into bullying that boy Harden. It's all so exciting to me. I'm genuinely so ready. I'm giving this chapter an easy 9 out of 10. I don't even care. But let me know you guys' thoughts on it in the comments. Damn, honestly, I can't glaze this chapter enough. Anyways, I gotta get this video out ASAP, so make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.